everybody. I'm Jen, and for those who don't know me, I work at CrossFit 310, and we are doing a Crucible challenge. It's coming up on the 23rd of October. We're super excited about it. Most likely, if you're listening to this right now, you are a part of it, and you've already signed up and are joining us in some way, shape, or form. For those who know Paolo, he has a buddy and a partner in crime here. His name is Joe, that I want to introduce you to. He is an endurance athlete, an ultra runner, and many other things. And he is going to help me share with you some tips and tricks on how to survive and even enjoy our 24-hour event coming up. So this is Joe.
Hey, everyone. Good to meet you. Jen, thanks for having me on. I'm sort of thrilled for you and for the crew and for everyone who's brave enough to sign up for, this kind of event, because I think Crucible is a good word for it. They have that element of, fear, but interest and intrigue. And what is you're going to have a great time doing it. That's for sure.
That is awesome. And I feel like we are so lucky to have you here because you have a lot of knowledge and a lot of experience. And I'm sure there are people out there who really don't know quite where to start and how to go about it. So I think your knowledge is really going to be helpful.
Yeah. So just to background a little bit on the resume. My God, I think if you add up cycling and running, I've probably done about 160,000 miles over the past 20 years.
Wow,
Almost
that's so cool.
40,000 miles of running. Couple years I did over 4,000 miles, and I'm on track for that this year, which means you run at least 11 plus miles a day every day of the year. So that's how you get to 4,000. It's not a simple task.
Along that, do you have an actual running streak?
Yeah, right now, well, I'm on about 295 days in a row of at least 12 miles a day.
Oh my God, that is an impressive running streak.
So that's the most recent one. And, my background in athletics, it's started off as a cyclist and became a triathlete, and then moved into the Ironman racing. Did 6 Ironman triathlons, which is a 2.5 mile swim, a 112 mile bike, and a 26 mile run. Then I started doing road marathons. I did 35 road marathons, and then moved to the ultra category. I've done 35 ultra marathons. I've done 7 times 100 miles, did a 205 mile run, and then I also did just 6 marathons on 6 consecutive days on 6 continents. Did that in 2017, and continue to work towards both getting faster and stronger. And it's been a great and amazing journey. There's so much I wish I knew when I started that I've both experienced, but also some of my buddies are at the top of the class globally in ultra running. And, we all at our different levels, what to be clear, especially in ultra running, is, we just want to be out there having a wonderful experience. It's, you actually learn how to run slower if you want to be an ultra runner, because how could you go for 2 or 3 straight days? You're not sprinting. So it's about sort of managing your system and your emotions as best as you can. I can tell you that every single one of us have felt crummy for long periods of time. And you just sort of accept that, and you work through it, and it will resolve itself, and you will feel better at some point. Could be electrolytes are off, it could be just lack of sleep. It could be your GI system is messed up. I mean, everything that you think could happen will go wrong, but that's okay. As long as you're close to a bathroom or some food or a drink, you can sort of resolve and work through it. I think that's part of the intrigue, is the problem solving. Because, you sign up for this 24-hour thing, and you don't know what mile 18 or hour 18 is going to feel like, but you problem solve. You're going to go do your couple miles, and you're going to say, what do I need to do differently? We'll talk about that a little bit, both in the preparation, what to do while you're enjoying this experience, and then even, post Crucible event, how to think about recovery.
That is awesome. And I am convinced we are talking to the right person about it. So I'm glad we're doing this.
Yeah, I think so. There's sort of a few basics that we don't want to get wrong. Let's start with the first, which is hydration. We don't need to over drink while we're doing this, but you need to keep, we always measure ourselves by, not to be too TMI related, but if you're not going to the bathroom, you're not drinking enough. I mean, it's pretty simple.
Yeah, that's a good measuring tool, right? Are you going to the bathroom? Are you able to do that? Okay, good.
Let's start there. You will need calories. So one is hydration. Number two is going to be calories, right? That's going to be really important. And then ultimately, number three is how are you going to sort of manage the endurance part of this, which is I'm going to keep doing this hour after hour, and they're going to be the highs and lows. So what I would suggest, even though we only have about 2 weeks before the event, is to start practicing each of those as you go along. So practice hydration when you go do your runs, even if it's a short run today, which you might not need to have, consume some fluids, consume it. Get used to having it more frequently. It's hard to catch up. Once you fall behind, the body doesn't respond as well. It needs, because we go through this phase of sort of excitement into fatigue into exhaustion, but we can mitigate fatigue and exhaustion by taking care of ourselves properly throughout. And so that'll be, make sure that, every hour you're drinking at least 12 ounces of fluid.
Okay.
And, that could be water. It can be, something with sugar in it, like a Gatorade. It could be an electrolyte beverage, like, Tailwind. Some people like the taste of some, like some of others. Test something out over the next 2 weeks. Find out what you like, and then have that available.
Love it. Okay, good.
So that's, on the hydration. One of the things when you find that you're cramping is a sign of an electrolyte imbalance. So what happens is that in our body, we need these fundamental electrolytes. So sodium, potassium, magnesium, and calcium. And all of those need to be in a balance for us to transfer energy effectively in and out of our cells. The water that's inside the cell versus outside the cell, when there's an imbalance between the minerals, these electrolytes, the body starts to react funny. The reason it's doing that is it's signaling to you, you need to do something. Right. So what that really means is you can't just drink water. That's not the only fluid. You need to have a fluid that has some sort of electrolytes in it. They're easy to find online, in a gym, in a store.
Yeah.
Any of these, and you could also get electrolyte pills. Hammer makes a pill. So you could drink water if you're swallowing the pills. By the way, you can't overdose on electrolytes. Your body will just flush them out if you have too many. But we've all been in a situation where you start to feel the cramping, and you could take 2 or 3 or 4 of the pills, and within 15 or 20 minutes, the cramping will go away because the balance will come right back in, and you'll be really good. So in the fluids, make sure you're taking in some calories, make sure you're taking in electrolytes, and keep monitoring yourself, because cramps are a great signaling system for us.
That's really good. I just personally like Ultima. That's a brand I've used over the past couple of years. I used it in my half Ironman last year, and along with Performance Tea, and the electrolytes from the Ultima just kind of kept me hydrated enough. If I didn't feel like having Ultima, I would have regular water. So it's like sometimes your body can kind of tell you if you're not craving something. It's amazing. But I just like the taste of that one. They have several flavors. Cherry pomegranate's my favorite. Some people like just smart water, right? Like that has electrolytes in it too. I don't know what balance of electrolytes it has. I've even done well with the salt tabs.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, I had a cramp during a race. I thought my knee hurt, like was injured, hurt. And my friend said, take a salt tab. And sure enough, in like half a mile, I was fine. So yeah, it goes a long way. That's
body reacts very quickly. Just for reference, salt tab has potassium, magnesium, sodium, calcium, all of the electrolytes that we need.
Yeah, and they're just like a chewable, like almost like a Tums.
Yeah, you can take them that way. They have them actually in just regular pills. And then, of course, there's the powders that we could put into our drinks. So there's many ways of getting it. If you walk into a running store, and say I need some electrolytes, they'll have 5 or 10 choices for you, or just go online,
Sure.
type that in, and you'll be overwhelmed.
Yes. Oh, fast.
On the food, there's a couple of ideas here. Number one, you're going to be eating at times you don't normally eat, like
Right.
at 4 in the morning. None of us are eating, well, unless we were out too late. But for the most part, we're not eating then, and we don't eat as frequently if we're not doing a 24-hour event. So you got to sort of like throw away convention in your head, and don't worry.
Okay.
Number one, we're not trying to lose weight during this event, and I'm really dead serious about that. This is not an event where you're just like, I don't want to eat because I can lose some calories. No.
100%.
Never, ever. You can lose weight other times in our lives, not in the middle of an event. We want to stay strong, and calories are as important as the hydration. But here's a couple of things to think about. Number one, for the most part, what you think you're going to want to eat that night, you should have tried at some point in your life. For the most part.
Yes.
You might find though that there's a time where, like, I don't know, I was in a race and the only thing that was interesting was one of the aid stations had pumpkin pie. Now, I never ate pumpkin pie in a race, but my God, it was the best thing I ever ate. Like,
You can't go wrong. Okay.
no, like,
yeah.
I know friends who, went through a whole race on Doritos because that's what tasted good. They never ate them again. Like, don't worry. This is not like, we're going to burn through everything we put in our body, and your body will tell you. And when it doesn't want something, like I eat peanut butter and jelly all the time. I've been in races, I can't chew it. Like, I just can't even eat it.
Oh, yes.
So number one, try and eat stuff that you know. Number two, if something is appealing or you don't know what's appealing, like, have some support for you. And like, you're looking at your food and it's 3 a.m. and nothing looks good. Well, then send a message to a friend and say, hey, go get me this from the store because that's what I'm craving, because that's what you need. Like, if it's oranges, it could be chips. Listen, chips are fantastic during a race. They are the best.
Yeah.
They got fat, they got salt, they got carbohydrates. It's like a fabulous thing. And if you don't feel like chewing them, I know this is a TMI running thing, but put them in your mouth and drink some fluids. They turn to mush. You'll swallow them and you'll feel better. I am telling you because I've done this 100 times. So you don't even have to sit there chewing.
I have a question though. You're talking about a 24-hour race. Some people are running a 12-hour version.
Yep.
Some people are doing more miles an hour than others. So I'm just kind of curious, how might this be different for the different lengths?
I think, if we go to the normative way of thinking about any endurance athlete or activity, if you're doing under 2 hours, you don't consume calories any more than you would normally do in a day. Under 2 hours,
Okay.
you have enough glycogen in your body. We have store about 3,500 calories of glycogen. The most you're going to burn through additionally might be another 12 or 1,500. So you'll be fine with just some hydration. When we get from 2 to 6 hours, we're going to want to at least have some small amounts, 100, 200, maybe 300 calories in an hour, right? If we go to 12 hours, 12 is going to be about the same as 24. We're going to hydrate and eat as though we're going for a long time. And then we're done. We're going to sort of reset, see how we feel. Might have some recovery food, get some rest. And then, 24 hours later, we'll start back into our normal diet.
Okay.
One of the other, if you're doing anything over the 2-hour mark, what you eat the day before has almost as big an impact as what you do during. So if you're a person who has a hard time, eating while you're going, just have a big meal the day before. It doesn't have to be pasta, just probably not like, I don't know, some spicy food you never ate before, like a jambalaya with lots of peppers in it. I might not have that the day before, but don't be afraid to have like a big bowl of ice cream the day before, the night before you're going to start. You'll give your body the opportunity to maximize your glycogen store that way. So you'll start fully capped off and topped off, and you'll feel better as a result. But it's really important is when you're going through this is every hour, if you're doing 12 or 24 hours, you should be taking in calories. And you want to almost if you don't have anyone supporting you, then have a little checklist and make sure that every hour you check it off for yourself that you ate something. 100 or 200 calories, the most 300, and then your body will metabolize all of that and you'll feel strong throughout. If you start feeling a little bit weak, you could amp it up a little bit, maybe go up to 400. Once you go past that, you're actually not capable of digesting that many calories within an hour. So it
Yeah.
really only is going to clog you up, and you really would better off not doing that.
Okay.
And if nothing else, like what we always do is we set out like 10 or 15 different food items at our little aid station. So you'll look and scan, and whatever looks good is what you should eat. And your reward system really works. And then, most likely once you get past 12 hours, in that last 12 hours, you could get to a point where it's hard to chew and swallow. And what I would suggest is you try to go to liquid calories. So one of the simplest ones we've done in the past, I've done quite a few times, is to have a couple bottles of Ensure. Go to CVS or grocery store. Meal replacement is a shake. Get chocolate, vanilla, whatever you like. It tastes good. You're putting in 300 calories, just drinking. You'll always be able to get that down. And it's got actually a pretty good electrolyte balance in it as well. It's a great save when you can't chew and everything looks bad, but you need the calories. Something like Ensure. It doesn't have to be that brand, but a meal replacement shake of sorts. Yeah, you could make your own, but this is just easier. It's like 3:30 in the morning. You're like, I feel terrible.
Ready. Yeah.
Pound it, and you're ready to go. I think 100-mile race, I drank 6 of them.
Oh my gosh. Well, that's a really good tip. Okay. Awesome.
So then, and as you get towards the end, there's this sort of tendency also to say like, well, I'm coming towards the end. I can start to back off on the eating and the drinking. Wait till you're done to do that.
Yeah, right.
Like you got to get over the finish line or the time horizon or whatever we want to think of it as. And so this is like, all in, and then we don't stop because, well, I don't need anything because it's the last hour. Your body sometimes can, within 10 minutes, sort of decide to shut down because you didn't treat it well enough. And we're going to be straining ourselves, So I think hydration in food, hopefully that's a good starting point for everyone to think about as they get ready for the Crucible event.
That is really cool. In fact, I can't wait to start making a list of all the things I want to have on my table that I can scan through. Because I'm not sure I looked at it like what you're saying. In my ultra marathon, we had, there were different tables set up at different mile markers where volunteers had what they had available at the tables. And like you said, it was like chips and pretzels and soups and all different things, and you never knew. But in every time something sounded good. One time it was something really salty, the next time it was something sweet. And so I kind of just let myself have the thing. But I hadn't really thought of it this way, like setting up my own table with my own variety of things. But I like that. I'm gonna do that for sure.
Yeah. So then, as it relates to sort of how to manage the time, because so this is a really different style. Like, so for everyone's benefit, Jen, a very good friend of hers, did a 50-mile race. But that 50-mile was from straight through, you started and you just kept going, and you would stop whatever for a bathroom break or at the aid station, but you didn't have big rest periods. Now, this is fundamentally different than that. What we're saying is the guidance is every hour in the hour, we're going to run 2 miles. So,
or 1 or whatever your category is.
Whatever your category. So you this top of the hour, you start, and let's just pick on the 2 because it's easy. And let's say if you're running 11-minute pace, 12 minutes, it's 24 minutes.
Yep.
Now I have 36 minutes before the top of the hour. Yep. If I went a little slower and I was doing a walking pace, maybe I'm at 40 minutes. I did 20 minutes a mile. So I got now 20 minutes. If I went really fast and got in at 16, then I have 44 minutes. So what you have to really be careful about is how are you going to use that time at each of the steps. So for the most part, you guys are all going to start at 6 p.m.
Mm-hmm.
I get to start at 9 p.m. because I'm on the East Coast. So I'm going to be like, the day's over and I'm just starting.
Oh,
But, amen. And actually, I will have run that morning already. So I'll have done my 10 miles. So we won't be waiting to the end of the day. But really think about getting set up a really nice environment for you to hang in. This might be a little bit strong. I would suggest that no one tries to live their other life, your normal life during this 24 hours. Don't try and then go clean the house, walk the dog, take the kids, like if you really want to get the real experience out of this, make this your 24 hours. And that means that 40 minutes, let's just pick on that time, you had 40 minutes available to you. Okay, I want to have set up a chair that I can sit in. I want to, in the middle of the night, it's going to get cold anywhere. In LA, you'll feel cold in the middle of the night, even if it's 65 degrees, because your body is under pressure. Have a blanket, have a coat. If you're doing this outside or if you're inside, make sure you have a good setup for that. But really think about that time. And by the way, that time will go very quickly.
Yes.
And then it's going to be close to the top of the hour. So keep an eye on, set an alarm, have a watch, whatever it is, 5 minutes before the start of the time, start getting yourself ready to go. Don't find yourself that the bell goes off and you missed the start. Because we want to stay as true to this as we can. I mean, this is a format, that we know of from backyard racing, that if you weren't out if it was a real race, if you're not out at the start of the top of the hour, you're disqualified. Now that we're not doing that, of course, but it's fun to have sort of that mindset, which is, I'm holding myself accountable. I want to get out at the top of the hour. And so I got to get ready. Now, there'll be some time where you might want to take a quick nap during your 40 minutes, your 30 minutes. Amen. No problem. How you set up your chair, you just sort of put your head back, but set an alarm or have someone there to wake you up.
For sure. Or else you're missing the next 3 runs.
You're going to be getting up and be like, what just happened to me? So just be careful about it. In all these races, there's always someone else around, bells ring, but we're going to be tired enough that we can fall right into a deep sleep. Now, and there aren't going to be anyone around at 3 a.m, so you're going to really, maybe it's a TV that's playing in the background, but, once you get through that period and the sun comes up, you're going to be very excited. You're going to feel like jazzed up. But throughout the day, now remember, you're like, it's 7, the sun is up. You still got 11 more hours to go. So amen, hallelujah here. It's like, let's put our head down at this point and say, now the work's really starting because, I got to keep this going and keep that rhythm, hydration, eating. I got my setup. It's like my little world that I'm living in. I check my box. I enter my data in the system saying I finished my round and just keep going. Now,
love it.
If you're having a really tough go of it, Jen and I want to make sure that either we're available or someone's available, phone a friend. We're going to send out some information that we don't want any one of you to sort of feel alone. So if you, I'll have my phone on the whole time. If there's someone who wants to call me, text me, anything, I don't care what the question. I don't care if I'm running. I'll just have my headset on and we'll just talk and we'll figure it out with you because we want you to have an amazing time. And since this is for most of you the first time you've ever done this, when we do 100-mile races, at mile 50, we can pick up a pacer. And we always call that pacer your second brain because as you start to fade, they're there to keep you good. Hey, Joe, eat some food. Don't run off the trail. Your headlamp's a little dim. You need a jacket. We want to be able to do that for you. So, we're real-time live pacers and, just there to support you.
I am 100% willing to offer up my phone as well for that, my number.
Yeah. So
that's
this is just you're now part of our community. So that's what we do for each other. It's the beauty of the ultra community. Like the CrossFit community is amazing. You guys have all experienced it. You know, it's like everyone's cheering each other on. You know, we're
Yeah.
similar. You just do it for longer periods of time. But
Yeah.
but there's no one in ultra who would ever leave a person on the side of the trail. Like
Really, so true.
that's it. We're there for these just amazing experiences, and this is what this is going to be like. And we really want everyone to finish feeling like you went as far as you could, but you're going to feel amazing soon after, because you're like, wow, this is like incredible what I just accomplished. And
Yeah,
so
I want everyone to feel glad that they did it. Yeah.
type 2 fun, we call it. There's 3 kinds of fun. You know, type 1 is sort of like hanging out watching TV. Type 2 is going to do these events. Type 3 is you'll never do it again. We don't want to get there. Oh yeah, these guys at a marketing agency called Duct Tape and Beer came up with this idea. And when we're hanging out in Colorado, there's always this sort of like the line between type 2 and type 3 fun when you go into like the back country. You know, like, oh, you know. Anyway, we'll keep this
That's
one
funny.
pretty safe and hold. Now, the other thing, Jen, is, you know, we got 2 weeks. If people have questions between now and race time, you know, you and I want to be available to anyone, you know.
Yep.
Send a Facebook message, text us, call us. You know, we're happy to just do a one-on-one, or we can, if we get a couple questions, we can group post back out to everyone so that, you know, we're going to help. I promise you that whatever question you have, I've had, and I didn't know the answer either. And I did some dopey things, and I wish I had asked or had known.
Yeah. That's good. Yeah, maybe there's a way we can have people send questions to a particular place, an email account or something, and then we can answer them to everybody, because chances are someone else has a similar question or could benefit from your answer. That'd be great. We'll set that up. But speaking of having 2 weeks left, what are other things people could do starting now to prepare themselves, like even in terms of running training or preparing their body?
Yeah. So it's very well known and understood that in the last 2 weeks, you cannot improve your physical fitness between now and race day. What you want to do is stay healthy and maintain. So,
Okay.
like, all of a sudden starting to run hard is not going to make you faster or make you better. So you want to keep your activity at a good, reasonable rate.
Okay.
So, you know, you should be doing, if you're trying to do 24 hours, then you should be doing at least, you know, 20 miles in a week, maybe more. You know, I promise you I'll be doing more, but don't go to 0, and don't amp it up 20 or 30% more than what you're doing today, but keep it rhythmic and steady. Get out at least 4 or 5 times this week, and then the next week at least 3 times. And then, you know, the 2 days leading up, if you really like a taper idea, which is to take off, then just go off for a couple of walks. Stay moving. The body does better when it's in motion. You know, for the 20 years that I've been on this journey, Jen, you know, I've taken off, I don't know, a total of 15 days in 20 years.
Whoa.
But I've done a lot of active recovery. Get on a spin
Yeah.
bike. Just spin for 30 minutes. Keep the legs moving. Push all of the lactate and all the bad stuff out of our body. Just sitting around, actually, it doesn't help that much. You don't have to do hard. And if it's just a walk, you know, with your friends and spouse and your dog, great. Just keep moving and be ready. Keep working on your hydration, you know, dial in your nutrition. We didn't talk at all about, you know, some people are going to do this outside. Some people are going to do it inside. Clothing, you know, get what you're going to wear, get it all ready. Like, you want that day leading up to this, that Friday, the 23rd, you're going to sort of like, you got to take a couple hours off towards the end of the day and get everything laid out. All your food and your nutrition, get your clothing laid out, your chair, you know, your alarm clock, everything, so that you're all ready to go. You know, I probably won't change my sneakers, but if you felt like you were starting to get some blisters, you know, make sure you take care of it early. You know, wear the right socks. You know, in the middle of the night, I promise you, it will feel cold. I don't care how warm it is. It's always, I've done a lot of overnight races, probably, I don't know, 25 or 30 overnight races. And I'm always amazed at how cold it is in the middle of the night, even when it
You
says the temperature is comfortable.
yeah.
So
You sweat and then your body temperature drops and then it's hard to get back.
that's right. Yeah. And there's no sun and you're not
Yeah.
moving, you're not generating any heat.
Yeah.
It's all important. I think it's really important to think about, you know, like one of the things that I learned late, I've had more blisters than any human should on my feet. uh, and I was wearing sneakers that were too small. So
Oh.
my whole life I wore 10 and a half, and now I wear size 11 and sometimes 11 and a half. I don't get blisters anymore. So I wear a little heavier sock, I wear a bigger sneaker, and I'm not jamming my foot all around the sneaker and getting the rubbing. It's been an amazing epiphany, and I don't know why I didn't know that before, but boy, am I glad I learned it. There are some lubricants that really work nicely. I use an ancient sort of remedy from some farmer in Vermont called bag balm. Somewhat looks like Vaseline, but it's actually lanolin based. I put it between my toes and on my feet in wool socks and a half size larger sneaker, and I haven't gotten blisters in 3 years. And
Yeah.
if you saw my feet look like that for the Tahoe 200, you would have thrown up. So,
Oh God.
oh God help me. We put duct tape on some of the blisters. They were so bad. So just think about what it feels like taking the duct tape off.
No, that's the first thing I thought of
Oh
course.
my God.
Oh,
It's like, I can't even begin. We won't go down that path too far.
no.
But,
But
but
speaking about this stuff, are you planning on changing clothes
yeah.
or socks? People are talking about like, do I, you know, you're gonna feel gross after a few hours. Do you then put on a new outfit? You've got 40 minutes to potentially get ready.
Well, I think whatever makes you feel better, you should do for
Okay.
sure. Like there are, you know, we got the grungy ones, they'll never change anything. That's just who
Okay.
they are. And then, but if you feel like I don't care, change your underwear, your socks, your shirt, just feel good. This is one.
Yeah.
We're sort of like none of us are racing each other. We're trying to have a phenomenal, amazing experience, and that's part of
Yeah.
it. So yeah, I think really like think about this. You know, you gotta be careful with your feet if you're going anything towards 12 to 24 hours. That's like where it can
Yeah.
all fall apart. Very, very literally and figuratively.
So true. So true. I don't know about you, but I've used the Lega socks
Mm-hmm.
in the past. They are not cheap, but you can get them at Village Runner if you're local to SoCal or any running store, I'm sure, or on Amazon, I'm sure. But those, I had no blisters in my 50 miler, and
See,
it
there
was
you go.
raining, like pouring the night
Yeah.
before.
Darn tough are the socks that I use. They're made up in Vermont as well. They actually are phenomenal because they have a lifetime guarantee. They're a $20 sock, but then for all intents and purposes, you'd never have to pay for another one because they just return you another pair. Uh,
Wow.
there's another, so chafing, you know, TMI, um, you know, be careful because that once you start having aggravated your skin so badly, it could be, I'm sorry to say these things, you know, it could be your thighs, it could be your rear end, it could be your feet, it could be anything, you know, like it could be sometimes
Could be your
men
arm sweeping across
really
your,
can. You just
yeah, side.
have some kind of lubrication. There's another one called squirrel's nut butter in the running community. That's
Yep.
fabulous. You
Yep.
know, there's a lot of good stuff that it's probably not a bad idea to have some of it not be nearby. You know, like bag balm you can buy in CVS. You know, all these things they have saved me and many of us because you know we're doing something
Yeah.
for a long time. So that will help in the preparation. You got a couple of weeks, and then you're going to get hooked anyway. So you're going to want to have it long term. So you're going to be doing more of these races.
And a lot of races, even marathons, they provide um, Vaseline. So even that will work if that's what you have around. But yeah, there's many similar to the electrolytes. If you do a search, you'll find way more than you need, and any one of them, I'm sure, will be fine to start.
Yeah, yeah. You know, we're not making this into a commercial. I will say that you know we're going to have some of our performance tee stuff around and available. Um, it's a, yeah, there you go. Jen's drinking some, I
I
have
am.
mine here too as well. The energy formula is great for when you start to feel some gut imbalance. If you start drinking energy, it really helps modulate the stress, which turns into cortisol, which is elevating much of our sort of, bodily response, which we don't want. So we'll have some of that in product around and available for anyone out of the LA near CrossFit. And so those are also helpful, they sort of how come Paolo and I hooked up and why I've been probably more successful in the past 3 years with my endeavors because of the products. But think about, this is where we can help you one-on-one if you have some questions, and let you know other techniques. Please do one thing. Do not take Advil during the 24 hours. It is really bad for your kidneys. And we won't go how bad, but it is really not a good time to do that. So you need to find other ways. You might need to ice sometime in the middle of what you're doing. If you have a stick or a foam roller nearby, you might want to roll as you get tight, because you're going to run, you're going to stop, you're going to tighten up, and you're going to run, you're going to stop, and you're going to tighten up, and it's going to be a rhythm. So have something that can mitigate that. But if you get to the point where the only thing that would work is Advil, that's up to you. But in every ultra, we recommend that we don't take that. It's medically inadvisable to do that. That's where some of our products, for example, with CBD can work, because the plant-based solution, it actually just helps modulate some of the stress response in the system, downregulates pain, it's anti-inflammatory naturally. Those things are okay. They're not toxic, but yeah, Tylenol doesn't have the same negative effect as the ibuprofen does. So if you had to have some painkiller, that's fine. But stay away if you can from that. If you're hurting that bad, you have to probably evaluate what's going on anyway.
Yeah, that's good advice. Wow, I think is that all we had? I feel like there was a couple other things we talked about that I want to make sure we get out there to people. But let me look through. We talked about we talked about the phone a friend, which is awesome. We talked about people being able to ask questions and that kind of thing. But I also want to make sure people are keeping track of their mileage.
Yes.
You're going to get to a point where you're delirious and you don't remember what mile you're on, and you can always go back and do math. But we talked about maybe having a check, like a Google sheet where everybody could kind of log as they go. So then it's also like a virtual cheering section. You can kind of see what other people are doing and be right there along with them. So do you have anything to add on that? Did I miss
No, I
anything?
think that's great. I think it's online. We'll all have our computer probably nearby, and just go find your name, and for each of the hours, log what you did. It'll be fun to see the progress, and it'll be an incentive to want to fill the whole thing in for sure.
I think so too. And what you said to me really resonated, which was basically, we want to make sure you get in like another lap or another mile or another hour than you would have on your own. So that's what this group is all about, is kind of cheering each other on and helping each other get to that finish line, or at least as close as you can.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool. So we'll figure out a way to set that up and get everybody hooked in. You should even be able to access it from your smartphone. So everyone should be able to do that without issue. But yeah, I'm looking forward to this. And now I'm starting to get pumped. We're getting closer in the home stretch.
Absolutely. Yeah, this is going to be a great event. Look, I think that you're all brave, and courage is high, and your curiosity is high. Makes for great people. And, we want to support you, make sure you have the most amazing event possible. I'll be out there doing it alongside you throughout. So you'll know that one way or another, I'll finish some to 24 hours. That's for sure. And I look forward to celebrating with everyone when we're done. Out here to help anytime, Jen, between now the race and during it as well. And then we'll evaluate when it's over and do it again.
That is awesome. Okay, we'll figure out a way to get questions to you if we have any that are coming through, and we'll just figure out how to circle back.
All right. Well, everyone have a great day. Good luck leading up to the event. We'll see you out there.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.